bases, especially after the invention of the internet, are a very fascinating subject to study because they can range from just a group of like-minded individuals to what will eventually become its own ethnicity given the chance, and like in many historical cases, these fan bases also tend to have their rebellious faces, depressed faces, and faces of idolatry. For the anime community, the old anime titles are usually the most obvious golden cow, with some studios occasionally trying to bring in either their own spin or even their own replacements. The only exceptions I can remember to this are Legends of Galactic Heroes and Evangelion, the former because no one cares about epic space sagas at this day and age, the latter because the studio continues tweaking the damn thing to this very day. But yes, The Great Pretenders, the anime I've made a joke ramble about, and now I have to actually watch it because otherwise people will call me out for being a two-faced twat. Great Pretenders is an original comedy crime drama made by Studio Wit and Hiro Kaburagi, a man responsible for 91 Days, which was also a crime drama, only less comedic. The story is about Makoto Edamura, a Japanese con man with a very sad past that gets embroiled into schemes of a veteran con man and a gentleman playboy Laurent Theory that forces him to travel all over the world and get repeatedly scammed by him. The anime is divided into 4 cases, each in a different part of the world, and delves into the backstory of one of the main characters, but the point in all of them is the same. The team targets some rich corrupt bastard and sooner or later they get a lot of money and live happily ever after. I don't think I should really say this because for creatures like me the inspiration behind The Great Pretenders is pretty obvious, but if you weren't, say, born yet when Lupin III's popularity was at its peak, yes, this is pretty much the director's go at trying to make a story about a troop of rogues doing rogue things. But even with all that, I always try to go into anime I watch with an open mind. I said try, not always successfully, I admit, and having a bit of a soft spot for crime dramas, I found myself trying my hardest to like Great Pretenders. The graphics is gorgeous with these beautiful still shots and contrasting colors. Each of them is basically created specifically for people to screenshot them and use as wallpaper. The animation is fluid and reminiscent of the way old animes were animated, which allows the show to keep things realistic while also doing exaggerated movements when needed. The music at first glance isn't that memorable, but then you actually listen to the soundtrack and realize that this is actually a pretty good mood setter, and the plot design is made with extreme care to make sure the audience is captivated to the end of the case. I guess I wanted this last ramble of the year to end on a triumphant hurrah to the anime industry in general, because with all the shit happening both around me and all over the world, I wanted something nice to watch in a vain attempt to prolong the time before my next suicide attempt. But as I was watching it, the part of my brain that takes almost sexual pleasure in ruining others' enjoyment turned on me, saying, "Auntie, we both know that you've sent animes to gallows for less plot problems than this." Motherfucker. Remember that part I've said about the plot design being made with extreme care? As you remember, the whole show is structured in blocks of episodes called cases, each following a specific location and a specific backstory. In other words, you can say that the anime structure is 4 OVAs in a serialized format, and obviously the strongest one is the first one that is supposed to hook the viewer into watching it. Fair enough. The problem with the anime plot-wise is that if you binge-watch it, you quickly start seeing that the director is using the same tricks in each and every case, with Edamura being somehow coerced into a con by Laurent, that Edamura is getting something wrong each time, and that it all ends in something grandiose, or at the very least tries to be. Wikipedia tells me that the last case, that is the last 9 episodes, were aired on Netflix with about a month gap or so after the last case, and I have a suspicion that this was very deliberate, as without a month gap for people to forget about it, I have a strong suspicion that the audience would feel themselves cheated. At least I was. Here I was, watching this anime, soldiering through the repeated story beats, rewatching it with a caretaker to take screenshots and make notes about the story and the characters, only to be met with basically a repeat of every single beat I've seen before, from killing his friends to Edamura again being coerced into something bad, and by episode 12, when the levels of Keikaku got too melodramatic for my taste, I've decided that this shit is simply not worth my time, because I already know the ending. Here's my predictions, and also probably spoilers. Those 2 girls are alive. They'll swindle money out of both the Chinese and Japanese mafia, probably trap them somewhere as revenge for that black girl the Chinese killed, but the black girl is actually alive and well, and the next target, given that these things tend to escalate in scope, will be the president of some first world country. My take it'll be Italy, Spain, or USA. Maybe Brazil if they're politically conscious, which I doubt. There, write down in the comments if I'm correct or not, because I'm certainly not planning to watch it anymore. What a nice way to end the year. I want a milkshake.